So good morning everyone. I welcome you to this important event, which is the first day of the Global Week of Action for Climate Finance and the Fossil Fuels Free Future. Our organization, Citizens Participation Against Corruption Initiative, has decided to mark this week because we believe that we are all victims of climate change. Take, for example, the floods that have been ravaging not only Nigeria, but Africa in general. Even, I think, just 2 days ago, there was massive flood in Maiduguri, Borno State here in Nigeria, which affected almost over 2 million persons have been displaced by that flood. And even in Bauchi State, I think 3 days ago, I read in the national dailies the wreck flood, the havoc flood wreck in Bauchi State, which led to the death of people. So it is not only in Nigeria, but also in other African countries, and in fact, throughout the global south. For example, in East Africa, this year there was also massive flood in Tanzania. Houses were submerged, cars were floating, you could see cars, vehicles floating clearly. So based on studies conducted by experts and scientists, this kind of flood that we are now experiencing is one of the adverse effects or impacts of the climate change. So that is why I have made mention that we are all victims. We the people from the global south, I can see, are sitting on a time bomb. That is why we are categorically demanding that the global north, who are the major polluters, the rich countries that are responsible for global warming, must not only provide climate finance for the global south, but also fund the transition to renewable energy systems. Because from the studies conducted by experts, African countries, we only contribute just 3% or 4% to greenhouse gas emission. The rest is being contributed by the global north. That is why we say for justice to prevail, the global north must not only provide that climate finance, but also support the so-called transition to renewable energy. They have the resources, and they don't have any excuse to shy away from their responsibilities. Because how much, for example, these rich countries are spending prosecuting wars across the globe? How much, for example, the United States of America has been providing for Ukraine in its war with Russia? So taking into cognizance the climate catastrophe, they don't have any excuse of not providing the climate finance for the global south. And they have already signed, Dr. Israel will further expatiate on that. There is international agreement in 2015, I think, the conference of parties held in Copenhagen, Denmark, they signed. Also, there is Paris Agreement. Then the last COP took place in Dubai, COP28. They all signed about the climate finance, their contributions to support the global south. And let me tell you one thing, we are not even begging them. We are not appealing to them. Because I have mentioned earlier, they are responsible for all the degradation, for all the global warming. So looking at the contribution of African countries for the global south entirely, we are contributing nothing. So that's why we're insisting that the rich countries who are the major polluters must do their part in terms of facilitating climate finance for the global south, in terms of facilitating just and the equitable transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy. And apart from the issue of funding the transition, also issue of international cooperation. So we're asking that there should be a kind of international cooperation, a kind of new commitment among the global nations to achieve this. Because we don't have the technology in the global south, we don't have the resources, we don't have the fund, and we are vulnerable to climate change and its effects. And apart from that, also there is this issue of continuous extraction and production of the fossil fuels. We are talking about coal, gas, and oil. So for us to effectively adapt and mitigate the climate crisis, this exploration, funding and whatever must stop. But taking into consideration of the new oil and gas projects across the world, the continent, Africa, and the rest of the world, it seems like the world is not seriously committed to fight climate change, because there are several ongoing oil and gas projects all over the world. So we are just deceiving ourselves. We are contradicting ourselves. If the world is seriously committed to phasing out possible, then why also the banking institutions, the financial institutions such as banks and the insurance companies are still funding the extraction, the exploration, and production of fossil fuels? Why? It must be stopped for us to be able to transit to renewable energy systems. I think I will stop here because already we have an expert who is a professor on geology, and he is here to make a presentation. So he will shed more light on what I have said in my remark. And I implore all of us to pay attention and participate actively. Thank you very much.